Your husband, Rod, was wanting to film this so that
Yes.
You can see how you come across.
Yeah, thank you.
Very welcome, Sue.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Andrew, and thanks in advance to Linda, all across to New Zealand, for inviting me, and also Joan as well for communicating. So I'd just like to say thank you all for inviting me. And what I'm going to share with you, as Andrew said, is really talk more about my health journey and how that everyone in life has their challenges and how to turn those challenges and to overcome them so that then they become your greatest victories. So hopefully in sharing my health journey with you, that you'll be able to not only help you in your own lives, but help share the message so that other people get benefit as well. So to start off, I'd like you all to imagine, everyone's had goals and dreams, but imagine that you put your heart and soul into one of your lifelong dreams, and then in a moment it was taken away from you. Well, that was me back in October 2014. So I was training for my first marathon. It was a dream come true. It was the Melbourne Marathon, and everything was going well. Everything, like my fitness, my eating, I had a personal trainer, absolutely everything. I was so excited about this moment. And then 2 weeks out from that marathon, I had a migraine. Now, everyone's had those migraines, haven't they? Where you just pop a pill and then you're better. Well, this migraine just didn't disappear. It lasted for over 5 hours. And I went home, I had it at work, and I went back home, and I thought, oh, I'll just pop a Nurofen and then it will be good. But I was left there writhing in pain on my bed. And after 5 hours, as I said, I woke up from that, and I was left completely numb down the right-hand side of my body, unable to feel my right foot, and I had hot and cold tingles on my back. Now, I was lying in there, and if you were there with me on that journey, how would you feel if that was you? Totally, pretty sad. And I actually, I've only just turned 50, but I thought, what is that? Is that a stroke? Is that the end of my life? What does it mean? And because I'm a runner, if anyone's a runner or loves anything in your life, you just want to know the answers just so that you can carry on. So needless to say, that didn't happen. The Melbourne Marathon came and went, because what happened in the next month was a series of blood tests and full body scans and loads of doctor's appointments. And then I had a visit with a neurologist, and he told me, Sue, you have 8 lesions on your brain. And because of that, he diagnosed MS. Now, I had no knowledge or understanding of what MS was, apart from the fact that my understanding of it was that you're fit and well, like just about to run a marathon. How could a marathon and a diagnosis of MS come together? So in my mind, it didn't make sense. You're fit and well, and then you receive a diagnosis. Then in my understanding of MS was you walk with a cane, then you're in a wheelchair, and then you're dead. Now, that wasn't the life that I had planned for myself. I was at what I thought was the prime of my life with a loving husband, and I thought, how can this be? This seemed to me like a death sentence. So I juggled with that knowledge, and it's almost in that instance as well, it took a while, and I'm sure everyone here has had their own health challenges and journeys, or know people who have. So how do you turn lemons into lemonade? So how do you turn your challenges into your greatest victory? And when you meet your darkest hour, which that was for me, you find the strength to overturn it and to understand it. However, in that moment as well, the neurologist was telling me that, okay, Sue, MS is incurable. However, there are fantastic drugs on the market that you can take that might help with symptoms, and they might help prevent future attacks in the future. However, they might help and they might not. And I was listening to this neurologist with all his 20 plus years of experience, but it made no sense to me. The list of side effects was so long, and it felt like playing Russian roulette. why would I take a drug that might work, might not, and might make me better, but then might not? What else can I do myself? Isn't that just solving the symptom? What about the root cause? So I then went on a journey of discovery, which was I started looking for a second alternative. And I'm sure we've all done this in the age of Dr. Google. Dr. Google was my friend, and it opened up a wealth of knowledge to me and research as to looking in not only MS as a disease and what actually it is. For those that don't, how many people know what MS is? Yeah, okay, everyone does. You were more knowledgeable than me back then. So the ones that don't, MS, multiple sclerosis, it's part of an autoimmune disease and it affects the central nervous system. So in my discovery on the research, I discovered that there are over 3,500 worldwide cases of people who have had incurable diseases that had spontaneous remissions. And the number one reason that all of them, they were able to have these spontaneous remissions is that they believed that they could. And they had remissions from cancer, other autoimmune diseases like, diabetes, heart disease. The list was so long, and it was just a belief that they believed that they could heal themselves that helped them through that. So I thought, well, if they can, then I can too. I just had to find a way myself on my own journey as to how I could heal from the inside out. And another belief that I have was that if I created it, then I could also learn and uncreate it too. I just had to find a way myself. So I'm going to share with you on that journey. I've narrowed it down to basically 3 things that really helped me on that time. And I'm so passionate about these that if I share them, I believe that if you take them on board in your life, that you'll be able to overcome anything and to achieve anything in your life. So the first step was, as I mentioned before, belief. And for me, it was an attention. Back then, I would give absolutely anything to be able to run and to be able to be in a full health again, to be actually feel my foot and to be able to run and to be able to walk and just to not be in pain. So I wanted that with all my heart and soul. The second one was mental rehearsal. And what I discovered, what this means is visualization. It's another term for it, mental rehearsal or visualization. So what I did in my morning meditations was I actually visualized, actually projecting myself in time, 9 months, in the actual neurologist's appointment. So I was face to face with my neurologist and he was telling me, Sue, looking at the before scans of 8 lesions and the after with none. And I was having this conversation and I had tears of gratitude, like visualizing this moment. And it was so true, even though I was back here and I couldn't even feel my foot. I visualized it so vividly as if I was actually in that moment. And that's the power of visualization, because your mind doesn't know the difference between an imagination or a real event. To your mind, it's actually the same. And that's the power of athletes when they actually visualize themselves, achieving gold medals. I remember a story somebody told me, I forget the names, but it was the gold medalist beach volleyball, that every single day when they were brushing their teeth and they looked at themselves in the mirror, they actually painted a gold medal. So they saw themselves morning and night with that gold medal on. So the power of it, they just did that for 4 years, as well as obviously all the training, but they had that vision so strong in their mind. The third step for me was act as if. And what this means is for me that every single day I had to show up as that person who was fit and well. So even though back here I felt like I couldn't walk, I thought, okay, so what is somebody at that peak health again? How would they eat? How would they think? How would they believe? So I had to have the strong belief and thoughts of a marathon runner again. I looked at my diet was another thing, my nutrition, and I cut out everything that wasn't serving me, that wasn't fueling my body for nutrition. So for me on the research I cut out gluten, dairy and sugar, and my energy and my health almost instantly improved. That was just for me. I know that everyone's different on their own health journey. As I said, I started meditating daily with those visualizations. I had kinesiology sessions, which works on like your whole body. So my mind and my body was more in sync. So all of this I did, but like the number one thing was the belief that I was fit and well. And then comes the interesting thing of the running. Obviously, I wanted to feel my foot again. So again, I imagined my feeling from my brain down to the foot and using my hip as a piston. And at first it was jerky, like as if the piston's going. And then gradually I could feel my right foot down on the floor. So it was no longer like pins and needles, as if it was numb up here. I could actually feel the ground underneath me. And then step by step, I was able to walk, actually feeling the ground, and then gradually run. First to the first lamppost, then the second lamppost, then 1K, 5K, 10K. And then before I knew it, almost 9 months to the day, I was at the starting line of the Gold Coast Marathon. Yeah, 9 months. So going from unable to feel my foot to building up my fitness to that level again. And I thought, you know what, no matter what happens, internally I felt that I had won, that I was a victorious, is that the right word? Well, feeling as if I'd already achieved, and it didn't matter what happened in that race. I was just going to have fun, I was going to enjoy it. So it's not often you hear the words fun and marathon in the same sentence, is it? No, it's not. But like, well, that's what I decided to choose to do, and it was the best race that I had. The crowd were amazing. They cheered everyone on. The runners were just very supportive, and it was just the best. I think I finished in about 5 hours. The time didn't matter, because when I crossed the finishing line, the crowd was cheering, and it got thicker and thicker towards the finishing line. And when I saw the crowd, I had the tunes of Chariots of Fire in my ears, and I started thinking as if I was sprinting longer singing the song. And I thought in my heart that I was sprinting, but on the video footage back, do you remember Cliffy Shuffle? Yeah, so that was me on the video, but it didn't matter because I crossed the finishing line. I was so happy and jubilant. The best thing was, almost a month after that, I went back to the neurologist, and he said, Sue, when he was looking at the scans, he said, Sue, out of the 8 lesions that you had, most of them have completely disappeared, and only the few that have remained have significantly diminished. And that was in a 9-month period, well, 9-10-month period. And that's why I'm sharing with you the power of positive thought, changing your diet, and having your whole body, mind and spirit all connected together. Your body is an amazing thing, and it can heal from the inside out. So thank you for listening from my journey. It's short and sweet, but if you've got any questions on that, then thank you. Thank you.
So I'd like to ask, obviously you put in a lot of personal effort into getting well.
Mm-hmm.
Were you working during that period? Did you have a job? Did you have family? Did
Yeah.
you have to do all the normal things?
Yeah, no, thank you. That's a great question. Rod and I, we don't have children, but at the time I had an extremely, very stressful job. I was working for a not-for-profit down in Geelong in a marketing role, and we had very strong, was coming up to a lot of deadlines coming up to the Christmas period. So to be honest, internally, I don't know for that fortnight if up until, well, probably about a month before Christmas, if I was in denial, Claudia, but I just went to work. I did my stuff. Only a couple of people knew, and then I would go home and I'd crash. And to be honest, Shara, I was almost in the fetal position on the floor crying because it hit home and my energy just rocketed. And then I did the same thing over and over again every day. And then Christmas came, and then I readjusted and realised, you know, what course of action I needed to take. So yeah, it was carrying on. Yeah. Yes.
What are your meals now?
Yeah.
Breakfast, lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
Which is so much different from the actual event when it happened.
Yeah.
What you were eating before,
Yeah.
which is so different now.
Yeah, great question. I think personally for me, refined sugar. I was, growing up, a huge chocoholic. I just, you know, Rod and I would just plough through a family-size block of chocolate, watching a movie. That would be no problem. We'd just, you know, but then with that, my moods, again, ask Rod, would be up and down. It would be this huge roller coaster. Cutting out refined sugar just leveled it all off. Another big one for me was cutting out bread. I thought I wouldn't know how I would survive without having a sandwich or cereal. But I found the passion of actually cooking real food and getting back to the basics of how our grandmothers all cooked in the kitchen. So I started introducing different food in, but I was more aware of how it actually made me feel. And pasta just makes me, pasta and pizza, just it's too gluggy here. So really just meat and vegetables, probably. Yeah, a few lentils and pulses, but it's a very individual thing too.
What was it in the bread that you couldn't tolerate? Was it the gluten or the yeast?
Yeah, I think probably the gluten. I think from the information that I've learnt recently, wheat isn't manufactured how it was in the past. Yeah, so there's a lot of additives and just the process and manufacturing of the wheat and the flour. It's not how it used to be. And the knowledge that I've got now, it's causing a lot of modern diseases that people don't realise. And wheat is actually in quite a lot of food now. It's not just bread. Yeah, even cosmetics, which I was amazed to find out.
How long ago did you have the first attack?
October 2014. Yeah, so every year I go back to Geelong, so it's cool that we get to catch up with friends. And that was one of the symptoms as well, where I couldn't cope with sudden changes in temperature if it dropped suddenly. So being in windy Geelong was a bit of a no-no, so we moved up to the Sunshine Coast and never looked back. Yeah, so October 2014, and then I have yearly checks.
You go back down there for the year?
Yeah, that's where my neurologist is, and he did say I can transfer you to somebody in Brisbane, but I got on well with him, and he's open to my holistic approach to tackling this rather than going down the drug route. So, yeah.
You must have been very surprised, though. I mean, obviously he gave the great credit for how you were looking after yourself, but was he very surprised at the outcome?
He or me?
The neurologist, was he surprised at the outcome?
Yes.
After you had done these things and find the lesions had
Yes.
diminished?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but open. He kind of. I hope. Have we got any lawyers in the room? Is very conservative in his approach, so it's almost like, okay, well, you're good, but we need to keep an eye on it. So that was his thought. But internally, I feel healthy and healed. Yeah, and I know, and I think the thing is, through life, you get tested. So things could happen, or if I get stressed, and then my body talks to me now. I've got that much awareness of my body that when I get tired or stressed, I crash. You asked Rod, he's a...
Yeah, I was just going to say the neurologist did mention to us that only one other person he'd ever seen in 20 or 30 years of practice had a reversal like that without medical intervention. He was surprised, yeah.
With diet and
Yeah, absolutely.
that diet was
And the
very, very
visualization.
important.
Oh, the visualization is so powerful. So powerful. Yeah.
Was Melbourne Marathon your first marathon, huh?
Yes, it was. Yeah, and Yeah, so but Gold Coast was great. I always think, shall I go back and like do the Melbourne Marathon again? But I don't know. Maybe I will, but never say never. Yeah.
I have a friend who had MS for a good 15 years, and she was cured, in remission, just like that. She follows a very, very strict diet and did before, and has a very positive attitude. It's amazing how it was just all of a sudden. And she, same as you, if she gets stressed, the symptoms appear.
Totally. Yeah, I think, and also as well, what I've learned, it is part of the autoimmune family. And my grandmother died of rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune. My mum died of rheumatoid arthritis. My sister was diagnosed with diabetes at 18, and now past diagnosis with me of MS. So it's in the family, it's in the genes. But also what I'm learning, and I love learning. Has anyone heard of epigenetics? No? Yeah?
Wellness consultant.
Oh, well, yeah. So epigenetics, for anyone that doesn't know, it's you have the genes or the DNA, but with epigenetics, it's almost told as it's a loaded gun, but it's if you fire the trigger, and the trigger is the environment. So for me, I had to really look at my environment, the stress, the diet, everything I was doing, and the people, my environment, everything, because that was pulling the trigger. Yeah.
Did you have a physio who gave you some guidance on your exercise regime, or
No.
was it something you purely self-taught?
Yeah, self-taught, and a very good personal trainer. So he was training me before for the marathon, and then knew the journey. So he adapted the exercise, building up the leg muscles, and then we went very slowly into running again.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did you go to a gym at all?
Yeah, I was a member of the gym. Yeah. And but I think rather than following a strict program for my running, if I was tired, I would just walk. And I was just thinking, I'm not going to go hard. Like some of the training programs are just really full on. I just really ran 3 times a week, sprints, middle and long distance, and then cross-trained in between. But if I was tired, I wouldn't do anything. Yeah.
And do you drink alcohol?
Oh, I love alcohol. Yeah, well, that was the thing. We actually asked the neurologist, Rod and I, on that first visit, after all the tears and everything, and it was, coming to terms with it, I just thought, well, what can we do? Would diet help? And he said, well, if you eat healthy food and meat and vegetables and fruit and everything, and we thought, oh, well, I'm doing that already. I'm a runner. Okay, well, what about chocolate? Oh, well, milk chocolate's probably not so good. Dark is okay. And I thought, and then I said, well, what about alcohol? And he said, well, in moderation. So the very first thing we did, Rod and I went to Coles, completely emotionally, ate that night. We got wine, we got beer, we got chocolate, we got everything, and just hoe through. Yeah, anyway, so that was...
Well, on behalf of the company, can I thank you so much?
Yeah, thank you for the
We all
invite.
know the power of positive thinking, which is
Yeah.
very much easier to say than to achieve.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
Yeah,
for
thank you.
Your experiences and sharing them with us. So
Yeah,
very
thank
much
you.
indeed.
Thank you, my pleasure. Thanks. Thanks.